Camelot 331 here. And can GameStop get any worse? Probably. I mean, we've been shocked in the past. Am I shocked right now? Hell no. But I have so many messages coming in from people. They're starting to get backed up. They're starting to get crazy as hell. Normal associates, fired associates, assaulted associates, everything you can possibly imagine. It just keeps getting worse. And we're going to talk to all these people directly. And we're going to show you what they've been going through at this company that doesn't have long to live. It's like the people on 600 Pound Life that are like 900 pounds. They're even heavier. Yeah, they got like a few months to live. That's basically GameStop. GameStop is basically a 900 pound guy right now. That's bedridden and refuses to change. So what happens to that guy? He dies. So before we get into it, make sure you give this video a thumbs up doodle and make sure you subscribe if you haven't. It's very, very important. First message. This one was really long, so he sent me a summary version after the fact, which was really nice of him. He said, when I worked at GameStop Corporate, I saw management be sneaky all the time and how they would be quiet on any information that would directly address people's concerns or impact the future. They would dodge employee questions and then reverse it by treating them like they did something wrong, when in reality, the employees were concerned about their futures. Shocking. This is something we see all the time, even on r/GameStop, the Reddit. People ask questions, then they get banned because they're worried about their future. That's the whole point. You're worried about your future. You want to know about it. He says GameStop lied to several people about the job security only for them to be laid off. When I was laid off, I was told I should have known it was coming. Here's the bare minimum severance. You don't have any medical benefits effective immediately. Oh, and we won't legally allow you to use us as a reference. Now get the hell out, and you can't talk to anyone that works here unless it's HR. So what he said in his previous longer message, that he worked there for years and only got 2 weeks of severance. Shocking. Absolutely shocking. Almost as bad as Lowe's, but not as bad as Lowe's. So in corporate, people are not telling you that you're going to get laid off. Management won't tell you you're getting laid off, and then they'll just lay you off and then tell you you should have expected it. Kind of like at the store level. People tell me all the time, I went to my local GameStop and they said they're not closing. Yeah. They don't know. They don't get any notice. It happens on a Monday. They walk in and their DL is there and says, hey, you're closing, bye. That's literally how it works. There's no notice. Next message. Always hate when you're right. Looks like telling people what their actively used phone is worth just reached the West Coast, as well as threats of termination for not meeting goals. Keep fighting the good fight. So apparently this guy's district is finally getting affected by the tech trades, the thing that is keeping GameStop alive until the next consoles come out. But if the consoles get delayed because of the coronavirus in China, well, GameStop might be done. So the tech trades are starting to reach out their roots all over the company. What a tech trade is basically when you go into a GameStop, they're going to ask you for your phone you're currently using and tell you how much they'll give you cash for it. If it has a crack on the screen, it goes from being worth a couple hundred maybe to being worth like $8. And then they take all those phones, bundle up the same models, and then sell them overseas. That's the only thing making them profit currently right now. Next message. Hey man, I have fun watching your channel, especially since I get updated by you more than I do GameStop. Shocking. Welcome to our Camelot channel, where you'll get updated more about your job than your employer will update you about it. Shocking. I've been with them for about 7 years, dropped down from SL to SGA so I can go back to school and get out of here. A SL is a store leader, and SGA is basically a third key. It's a part-time manager. It was the smartest thing I did since, well, I don't know if they told you yet some of the stuff we just heard, but we just heard from our DL that our store is closing this month. And on top of that, he said it's around 800 stores that they're trying to close ASAP. We're getting closer to that phase 3 number we've been talking about. He was even telling us that ThinkGeek might be a thing that goes as well. That's pretty much what you've been telling everyone. Hell, you should get a gold star or something for it. True. Damn it. I would love a gold star. Now that being said, I haven't seen anything about pre-orders lately, and I just noticed last week that a lot of old pre-orders have somehow disappeared. Shocking. Anything that had a product not found is slowly moving to $0, and others disappeared altogether. If you go into the back office and try to find old pre-orders in the reserve list, F11, and try to compare them with what the report shows on F10 when they have the R on them, items still reserved, nothing pops up. I don't know if anyone has found a way to find these old pre-orders or some other way, because I would love to call this guest so they can get their credit, since they don't get cash on items over 30 days anymore. There's people who had reserved consoles and now I can't find them, and it's crazy because the minimum you can put down is $50, and GameStop's just gonna keep it and move on. I was talking about that in a recent video where GameStop's basically just making all their store leaders just delete reserves and keep the monies and then increase the price if the game had dropped, they've already picked it up. Shady as hell, and it's happening in the US. Super shady, absolutely just robbing people. No one seems to care. Why does no one care? I don't know. It seems pretty important. GameStop's robbing people, trying to steal their phones away from them, trying to make them pre-order games, knowing damn well they're going to close these stores and keep that money. That's what they're trying to do. Close these stores, liquidate, keep that money in those stores. And then just send it to corporate. And then be like, oh, look at this extra 25 grand we have on hand now from closing that store. That's what they're doing. That's like an entire year's rent for some stores. They're scraping up the pennies, man. And they're robbing you to do so. Next message. Hey, Cody, I want to inform you what also GameStop is doing for store leaders and stores that are closing. I was a former ASL at GameStop in Florida last week. I worked 4 years in the company, and me and my SL got recently fired 1 week before I got fired. So an ASL is an assistant store leader. What happened is one store 2 miles away from us closed down. Store leader there basically was going to receive compensation. Same as the ASL. Since those stores are closing, the SL and the ASL get compensation if there's no positions available to fill. But here's the thing with GameStop. They're not willing to pay the compensation to that SL and ASL. Now, because we're a mall store and we're really sucking on numbers, 1 week before that store closed, they fired my SL for Circle of Life and for not having tech trades. 1 week after her getting fired, they pulled me in the back with LP, and they asked why did I use a debit card named Oscar on the card using my discount. I explained to them that it's my boyfriend's card and we share accounts, and they can look at the cameras that it was me purchasing it. The funny part is the transaction was made March of 2019. Funny, right? With that, they suspended me. Then the next day, they let me go for giving my employee discount to myself. Really? Next thing you know, guess who they replaced in the store? Yep, the same people from that store. So I know exactly what happened here. The store leader and the ASL from the store that was closing needed somewhere to go, so GameStop didn't have to pay that compensation because they have to, pay them severance. They just fired the people across the street and moved those people over there so they didn't have to pay that money. Shocking? Not really. They fired the store leader for tech trades. Wow. And they fired the ASL for using his employee discount on himself. Because that's what the employee discount's for, is to use it on yourself. But they fired him for it anyway. And the funny thing is, the transaction took place over a year ago nearly. And they fired him for it. Because they were looking for a reason to do so. That's what GameStop does. They look for that reason. They'll look for literally a year or two back. And say, hey, we're going to fire you for this reason. When I was interviewing with HR, when I left GameStop, they said the complaint that they had was from literally a year or 2 years prior or something. And I was like, what? Why are we even talking about this? That's what the GameStop does. If they're looking for a reason to fire you, that's what they'll do. They'll go back years and find something that you did and fire you for it if they need you gone. So I'm not really shocked with that. So with these stores closing down, GameStop's going to avoid paying severance by just firing other people so they don't have to pay that severance. Think about that for a second. They literally didn't have to pay that severance. They actually just fired somebody and moved them. That's it. They avoided paying that money right there. It's crazy. Next message. Hello, just saw your video on HR and would like to share my story. I worked for the company on and off from 2016 to 2018. When I was finally promoted to store manager in 2018, they decided to put me in a store that was in awful shape. My DL tended to move me to stores that were in bad shape because I was known for being able to fix them up. However, in my time as a store manager, I was diagnosed with epilepsy after a stress-induced seizure. The law in my state says I cannot drive until I was 6 months seizure-free. My store at the time was about 40 minutes away from my house. When I asked my DL to see if I could transfer to a closer store due to the medical issue, he immediately said no because nobody else could run that store. I took it to HR because I figured there had to be some sort of solution since now I had a disability. I bet there's not. My HR manager's response was, how you get to and from work is not our responsibility. It is not our job to accommodate when it comes to driving since it's not part of your job requirement. Driving to your job is not part of your job. Shocking. I responded with, how is it not part of the job requirement if I'm legally not able to drive, therefore cannot get to my store? To which she responded, I could take an Uber to work. Or have somebody drive me. Yeah, an Uber. Let me just pay $100 a day to get to work. What the hell, GameStop? Are you serious? On a GameStop salary, a 40-minute ride on an Uber to and from work is not cheap, and my friends also have families and jobs. I had no choice but to stay there and continue driving, even though it was unsafe for me to do so. But since I brought HR into this, they started looking for ways to get me to leave. I was also a full-time student at the time, and before I took the job, I let the DL know I could only open certain days because of school, which he agreed. And I had it in writing through text that he said it was okay. When holiday came around, there was one Black Friday ad I could not put up because my final was on that day. My DL knew about it, and it was fine until I spoke to HR because he wouldn't transfer me. After that, he said if I didn't show up to put up the ad, I'd be in violation of the mandatory manager schedule and could be terminated. To which I replied by sending him a screenshot of his previous approval of my school schedule. Nevertheless, he wrote me up for not abiding to the mandatory manager's blackout schedule. Clearly, they couldn't fire me since I had proof. HR was not happy, so they instructed him to write me up again for texting instead of calling because that wasn't a valid form of communication. They just wanted to prevent another instance of me having something to back up in case they wanted to fire me for something. So basically, HR was pissed that she had evidence on the DL. So they told the DL to not let her, text him because she had evidence. Because remember, HR isn't about protecting the associate. It's about protecting GameStop's ass. That's it. Later, I received a three-way call from my HR manager, her manager, and my DL. They were trying to force me to step down as a GA due to my condition. Oh, we know you're disabled, but we think you should step down. God, they're so evil, man. They said there was an open spot at a store closer to my home as a GA, to which I laughed and I said no, because a GA makes like $7 a paycheck. You can't do anything with that. I knew things would only get worse from there. I was my DL's golden child until I was involved in HR and tried to stand up for myself. Before that, I was a yes, whatever you say, boss type of worker. As soon as I did that, I had a target on my back. Luckily, I found a job right after that conversation and I left my keys to an SGA and walked out. Shocking. Even if you're disabled or become disabled, they try to force you out. That's how they work. They don't give a damn about anybody or anything other than profit. That is the only thing they care about. They would let their own family die to turn a $10 profit. That's how GameStop is. They would let an associate die in a store. They wouldn't give a damn as long as they made a couple $100 profit. They literally wouldn't care. They don't care. They don't care about you. There's still people violently defending GameStop, and GameStop couldn't give a damn if they're being defended by these people, and they still defend them. It blows me away to this day, son. I'm blown away right now. I'm flying through the wind like a leaf. Wash, rest in peace. I'm just saying, they don't care. Corporations don't care. GameStop especially doesn't care. They haven't changed anything in 25 years. They just keep going down and making it worse and worse and worse and thinking that ruling by fear is going to make them successful. But I hope you're watching this right now, GameStop. I hope some of the big wigs are watching this right now. You're dumb as hell. You're making the dumbest decisions possible, and I know why you're doing it. I know why you're trying to inflate the stock price so you can get the hell out, because you're just trying to make a buck. You don't actually care about the company, and that's fine. I understand. But you're playing with people's lives. And eventually that's going to catch up with you. So I hope you're ready for that. Because it's coming, son. And I don't know how, but it's coming. Please don't have me murdered. So that was a couple stories I wanted to go over from GameStop because the stories keep piling up. And we need to get through them because these people's stories are very, very important because they have lives and families. And that is what we have to do, is give everyone a voice. So don't forget to like this video and subscribe if you enjoyed it. And make sure you message me on Twitter or Instagram. Follow me on there and message me, and we will get your story out. So until next time, make sure you get on it. Doggone it. Bye. Yeah.